Welcome back to the TCAD 10-minute take. It is I, your host, Shreyel Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don the Legend Chambers. This is the 10-minute shorty version of our normal TCAD podcast, where we talk about one movie and one movie only, and give our spoiler-free review. And today's movie is The Irishman on Netflix.
Yes, The Irishman. Now, at this point, I think if we want to talk a little bit of spoilers, we can do it, by now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been out for a second.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not a secret.
No.
But before we get started, make sure you click that subscribe and you click that bell, and so you get all the notifications for the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop. We are going to go see some really cool stuff coming up. We've got our screeners for SAG, so we have like a whole backlog of movies that are out in theaters right now, and obviously Star Wars drops today, so we'll have that take out for you as soon as we can next week. And so subscribe. Notifications.
Yes.
And
yes.
As always, Don will go first with his take. And oh, you know what? Shit, I just got a new phone. I demolished my phone.
The old one? Yeah.
Yeah, it just...
Was it by accident?
No, it was by actual accident, and it was bad. It was bad business. Like, it was a catastrophe. Because for some reason, my case started to disintegrate.
I
had like a rubbery case, and it was fine. And then it just started to pull apart. And then I dropped it right on like the corner.
And then that was it.
For the styluses, and it just...
And that was it.
Demolished.
What'd you end up getting?
I just got another LG, but not a stylo this time.
Right.
But I don't know where anything is, so pardon me while I...
Figure, yeah. New phones, you gotta find, okay, where's all the stuff?
Yeah, like, where's my clock, even? Well, hell, I'm gonna have to cut this out of the episode.
We're gonna short... This is about to get very short.
Got it, okay.
All right, here we go.
Our take is going to be like 5 minutes, because that's all we have left, because it took me 5 minutes to find the clock. Okay. All right. And go.
Okay. The Irishman by Martin Scorsese, based on the book I Heard You Paint Houses by Frank Sheeran. Okay. Everybody's heard a ton about this movie. And a lot of it was weirdly about how long it is. And for some reason, that seemed to be like a sticking point for whatever. And I'm like, there are movies just as long. I think every movie in like the Lord of the Rings trilogy was like 3.5 hours or so. So, people talking about you got to break it up and like watch it like in pieces to make it episodes. It's ridiculous. It's a movie. It's 3.5 hours. Just, if you have the time, sit there and watch the whole damn thing, or not. Or wait till you do have time. Craziness, but that's besides the point. But this movie has got an absolute heavy-hitting, legendary cast, just from Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. Right then and there, your cast is set, but considering it also has Harvey Keitel and Bobby Cannavale. I hope I'm even saying that right. I always screw his name up. I'm like, wow. Then it's really, really getting there in terms of the cast, and you're going to be basically watching an acting masterclass, which it is. As we know, Robert De Niro is Frank Sheeran, Al Pacino plays Jimmy Hoffa, and Joe Pesci plays mob boss Russell Buffalino. Basically, it's the story of Frank Sheeran, who says he was a hitman in the mob, and he killed Jimmy Hoffa. Now, that can be debatable as to whether you want to believe his story, but I'm going to roll with it and take his word for it. But besides the historical aspect of it, just the movie itself, I mean, come on, it looks great. It's written great. It's acted great. I know that doesn't make very much grammatical sense there, but I mean, this movie is good. Yeah, it's long, and I'm sure there are pieces that could easily have been taken out. And yes, there's a lot of talking between the actors, but to me, that all works. I'm sorry, it just works because it brings more of a sense of gravitas to what they're saying. I mean, Joe Pesci's character, I mean, he gives simple statements that become commands to kill somebody, or he gives a simple look, and then the Frank Sheeran character knows that I got to take him out now. I mean, it goes beyond the stereotypical gangster movies people think of that have to be loud and boisterous, that need all of this action and need to be this over the top thing. And it's very sort of understated but very serious at the same time. And man, I'm sorry, it still packs a punch to me. But if you need something a little bit over the top, of course there's Al Pacino, and his Jimmy Hoffa is great because it's over the top yet very grounded at the same time. Like he knows just where to find those high points when Jimmy Hoffa is talking to at a rally, or if it's just him and the Frank character or the Russell character is having a conversation. He sort of knows when to pull it back and then when to explode out with this character. It's good stuff, man. If there was maybe one thing I might have nitpicked with it, it's maybe towards the end, sort of showing the last years of the Frank Sheeran character, sort of. Maybe that wasn't necessarily need to put in there, because I think that's a good 20 or 30 minutes right there. You know, and he's sort of trying to reconnect with his family. I'm like, I mean, it's sad, but maybe that part didn't necessarily need to be there. But everything else, to me, was just fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Everybody acting in this movie was on point. There were no weak spots. There were no acting lapses of like, why is he or she in there? Everybody in there was on point. Was perfectly cast. Was just on their A game. And yeah, and I know it's been out and people have seen it, or maybe if not, maybe the 3.5 hours are still scared them away. But absolutely, go check it out. If I had to give this from a 1 to 10, this is going to be like a 9.5. This is
on our scale. If it was in the theater, it would be
opening night. I'm getting my popcorn and my drink, and it is money well spent. I'd even pay for somebody else's ticket to come with me because it is good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It almost felt like it's a different sort of take on the kind of gangster movie that I liked, because it was more thoughtful. I found it.
Okay. Well, that's a take. No, okay. I didn't hate it. It sounds like I did, but I didn't hate it. It's just, I gotta say, it was long as hell. Like, and this might be the woman in me talking over this whole thing, because it was just a whole lot of bravado, machismo, men making things worse because of their egos. Just like, I'm sitting there just like, ugh.
It happens.
You can't just meet with this guy. You can't just say I'm sorry. You can't just ask for help. Like, Jesus Christ. like, God damn, like, I'm so glad that era of men is over.
Oh, it's not over. Oh.
It's gasping.
Okay, maybe.
But it was like, if I was a woman back then, I would be Anna Paquin, like just continually, just like simmering rage. Mm-hmm. Just frustration and simmering quiet because you can't say anything disgust and rage. And that's not a criticism of the movie. That's just sort of a general criticism of the time. It was really long, though. I was watching it at a normal time. I thought a normal time to start a movie. And I'm like, okay, let me pause it and go to the bathroom. This movie's probably almost over. And it had like an hour and a half left. I was like, oh, Jesus, I have to go to bed. I'll finish this in the morning. Literally only halfway over. And I was like, nope, sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
So it does help to break it up if you have to. I mean, really, I was clipping along and I was like, okay, this movie's probably like got 30 minutes left. I'm going to go to the bathroom, get a drink. An hour and a half left at that point. I had watched 2 hours of the movie and there was an hour and a half left.
It's 3.5 hours. Yeah. It's a long movie.
It felt long. Like I've seen, Scorsese shitting on Marvel movies, and it's just that I don't want to say evolved, because that's not the correct word for it, because it's not like it's better or worse.
Right.
But just the movie going audience and like the attention spans and things have kind of changed and moved to where, I still go back and watch, Sunset Boulevard or, The Third Man, and these movies are long and the pacing is different and you have to be in the right headspace to watch a movie like that. And Scorsese gangster movies, especially this one, because it's a much slower burn than his earlier movies. It's a more mature movie in the way that the material is handled and the shots and like the length of some of these things, that you just kind of have to be in the right headspace for it, and you can't be like hot off the heels of a fast paced Michael Bay thing. You just have to be mentally prepared for it. And the acting, like you said, was superb and stellar. I did feel like Anna Paquin was super wasted as the daughter Peggy as an adult, because like that character was so interesting to me in general, even as a kid. And then you see her and you're like, oh, Anna Paquin's an Oscar winner, like here we go. And she didn't really have anything to do. Like the women were just kind of superfluous to me, and I felt like they could have done more with that, and they didn't. It was a waste of opportunity when they spent so much time rehashing the same stuff with these guys. We're like, we get it, this guy's like this and this guy's like that. And then halfway through the movie, I don't know if I didn't notice it in the beginning, but like they were starting to put up title cards of what happened to these guys.
Oh yeah.
Is that throughout from the beginning?
From the beginning.
So I didn't notice it till like halfway through it. I'm like, they probably just got tired and they were like, we got to tell you what's happening to this guy because we're never going to get to it. But it was like, there were some technical things that bothered me, just to nitpick a little bit. Like, I feel like when they de-aged the guys, especially De Niro, they could have used a body double and because there's some scenes where, like, when he takes his daughter to the corner store guy, because the guy in the grocery store like pushes her and he like gives that guy a beat down. That was the most geriatric beat down I ever saw. Like, you could tell like 70-year-old De Niro was barely able to like kick this guy instead of 45 or 50 what he's supposed to be. And they could have that was an odd choice to have him do that.
To have him just leave him in there and do it,
Yeah, to have him leave him in there and do it, because it was the most geriatric beatdown I've ever seen. Like, it was slow and painfully awkward. And then like there was some stuff with the de-aging that totally threw me out of it, because they took current day Pacino and De Niro and Pesci and just made them look younger. And which wouldn't be a huge crime if we didn't have in our, burned into our collective consciousness what all these guys looked like at those ages for real. Like, De Niro was hot. Like, I'm not even gonna bones about it. Like, he had like really nice bone structure, and he's still, he's not an ugly guy, but I'm just saying like he's got an older face, like he's wider in the jaw, and like he didn't they just took, and he's making the De Niro face, which he didn't do a whole lot back then. So it's like they took current De Niro and took away the wrinkles rather than use actual De Niro at that age as a model for making him look younger. So it threw me out of it because I was like, De Niro didn't look like that at 45. Like, we know what he looked like, very much so. We know what these guys looked like. So that bothered me quite a bit. Probably more than an average person watching the movie. It was just irksome that they spent all this money on the de-aging but and then I read somewhere that the guys, they refused the dots. So maybe that was part of it.
They were like, look, I'm too old for that dot shit. You're just going to have to make it work.
Gonna have to make it work. We're not doing the dots.
So,
maybe they get a pass because...
Listen, you can't make them do it, so...
They weren't doing the dots. So,
yeah.
I mean, yes, I guess.
They didn't really have much of a choice.
Right. Like, you look at that Gemini Man movie, and the young Will Smith, he looks like Will Smith at that age. Not, they took current Will Smith with his wider, more mature face and bone structure and, like, just took the wrinkles away. They made him look like Fresh Prince Will Smith. Like, they didn't do that in this movie. Like, they just look like they kind of young their current guys up. And so it was just off-putting because we know them so well. We know these guys so well. And that was my own, my main thing that really bothered me. De Niro's contact lenses bothered me too, because
he doesn't have those color eyes.
No, he doesn't have eyes, but also I've seen better. Like, there were times when they were kind of slipping a little, and you could, like, they just weren't the greatest. And I'm like, you're gonna spend all this money, like, get the good contacts. Like, they have them that look like totally real. I don't know why it was just like some weird corner cutting things like that bugged me, because overall
I'm gonna guess
so stellar.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess if they didn't want the dots, he actually didn't put on any contacts, and they probably had to go in.
Maybe that was CGI.
I'm telling you, he's like, I'm not wearing no damn contacts. You're gonna have to go in every scene
and color that shit. Maybe if that's the case, then they did a great job.
Look, he don't want no dots.
I don't want dots.
I don't want no contacts.
Putting no shit in my eyes.
I'm telling you, it's probably what it is.
All right. You're probably right about that.
These are crotchety old men now, okay? They ain't doing some shit.
I would say this movie is definitely theater worthy, because it's on Netflix and you're in a home setting, and there was so much story to tell. Scorsese might wanted to consider, and maybe in the future he will, an episodic, like a limited run. Like, if this was 3 or 4 episodes of a limited series,
right,
that might have been a better format for this type of a slow burn movie situation. And it could have probably benefited from that, because that's what people expect when they're watching a Netflix movie.
True.
Or watching Netflix content in general. Like, we consume Netflix content in a certain way. And I think that there was so much left to tell about this. Like you said, like the stuff about them being older at the end, like that was tacked on for a feature. But if it was a series, and then like whatever's going on with him and his daughter, and that could have led to some other things. And we don't know what's going on with the women at this time, like the wives, when Hoffa's wife gets fired from her job, and like that whole thing. And like, it was just, I wanted there to be more with the women, and there wasn't, and that was a shame. But it's already 3.5 hours long, and so it probably could have benefited from being a series, like a limited run series. But other than that, I mean, it's a good movie. I know some of these guys are going to be nominated for stuff, and they should. It was definitely worth it. But you just have to mentally prepare to be in the right headspace for it. It's like when you watch a Fincher film. There's a certain pacing and slowness and intensity, and and then sudden bursts of extreme violence that are almost like thrown away in its brutality, and it's kind of shocking. And you think you're desensitized, and then suddenly somebody's getting shot like 6 times in the face, and you're like, holy you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but yeah, anyway, that's our 10 minutes. We're probably at like 15 minutes. It's probably like a 20-minute take now because it took me 5 minutes to get the timer. But if you have 3.5, if you have half a day to kill,
It's basically half a day.
if you have half a day,
It's well worth it.
it's definitely well worth it. I would say it's worth, you know, full price movie ticket as well. But yeah, since it's on Netflix, it's a steal. But yeah, so anyway, that's it. Don, you want to tell them where they can find us?
Yes, and obviously you can find us not just here on YouTube, but our main hub, tcatnetwork.com. That's where you can find all of our stuff under one roof, be it our YouTube videos, our podcast, anything we might have written for the website, all right there. Also, you've got the reading and Good Morning Antioch links to those right there on tcatnetwork.com. But while you're here on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified whenever we put up new content. And just as an aside, to let our people know, because every day I get stopped on the street by one of our tens of listeners who are asking, hey, where you guys at? I haven't seen you in a while. Just so you know, listen. Real life comes at you fast. And we've just got some family issues to take care of. But now that we're back and it's the holidays, we're going to try to do some catch up on the holidays.
Get some merch. It says holidays. Get some merch.
So we're going to try navigating the holiday stuff we, as everybody else, has to do. But we're going to try to get back in the swing of things now that we're back, be it through this holiday and the new year, and then kind of, you know, get some stuff out so we won't leave you hanging and you won't miss us so hard as as you've done now. So don't worry, we're all okay, and we're back.
But now we're leaving.
now we're leaving. Goodbye.